Hi guys, it's very bright and I cannot see. Today I thought I would show you my flawless base complexion. And what inspired me was last night I went to my work Christmas party and I smashed that base makeup. I was like, Sam, what are you doing? And I do have a skincare tip. Because good skin, when I say good skin, well-prepped skin equals good looking makeup. So not a lot of skincare tips because I'm not a skincare expert, but there are a couple of things. Let me go, just let me go get. Okay, so like with your skincare routine, I don't do anything extravagant, but before I go out or before I want really nice makeup, the night before, I use this. This is the Dennis Gross Alpha Beta Extra Strength Daily Peel. You can use the original, I think there's even a sensitive one, but I like the extra strength because it's got extra ingredients in it. And my skin can tolerate it because she's used to the heavy stuff. And what this does is it eats away the dead skin on the top layer of your face and deep in the pores. So you are sparkling clean. And your face is so clean, it literally radiates because there's no dead skin in sight. And I do that the night before. You have to wear sunscreen with these because they're actives. Like, you have to. If you can hear my son, he's playing on his play mat and he's very noisy. He's having a good time. He's having a party. So this is what I like to use. I bought the big jumbo pack, so I'm always got some on the go, but you can buy a little 5-pack for like $25, I think. Or you can buy the 30-pack over $100. I don't know how much. I use these typically 1 to 2 times a week, just as I feel like I need it when I'm feeling a little scaly. But that is my skincare tip. If not this, something with AHA and BHA. So that's how I prepare my skin. Then we're just gonna go in with the makeup. So keep in mind I've done this the night before. I still do my skincare before I do makeup, but that's just my extra tip. So with primer, I like to go with hydration. My skin type is normal, leaning dry. I do get quite dry in winter, but I also get a bit oily in summer, so I'm quite seasonal. But I love a hydration. It doesn't matter what it is, just a hydrating primer. And what is that is gonna do is, because we're using powder products, that little extra dose of hydration means that our skin is not going to drink up all the moisture from foundation, and then when we're putting powder on top, it's going to become too dry and powdery. So this dose of hydration is just like a barrier, I would say, to drink up some of that moisture when we put the foundation on, if you are drier. If you're not dry, then this isn't as important. And then I love, this is an Australian brand, the Mecca Max Blur Stick. I love it. If you don't have this or you're not Australian, the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, also wonderful. Anything that is going to smooth and blur where you need it. For me, I like to just do my T-zone. And I love this blur stick because look how easy that is. Like, are you kidding me? And it's very good. And it just makes everything really smooth. Hydrating and smoothing. We'll just make sure that skin is prepped. We want that foundation to lay perfectly. What I use doesn't mean you have to use it, because right now I'm trying to like finish things. So I'm gonna blend 2 foundations. I've got a bit of self-tanner on, as you can see, so I'm a little bit darker. So I want to use the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion, which I'm trying to finish. And I'm going to dabble in a bit of my Makeup Forever Reboot. This is a shade 208, R208. It's too light for me. It's a winter shade for me. And this is a tad darker. I could probably wear just this today, but I want to add a bit of moisture because this is quite mattifying. And I like the way that the two mix. The pump, I'm doing this because this is so thick that the pump doesn't pump any out. So I'm doing a majority of this and just a little bit of the Makeup Forever. Little man's not happy. Whenever I film, he's like super agitated, maybe because I'm not with him. Let's blendy this in. But in terms of foundation, something with a medium, if you want to look that flawless look, a little bit more medium to full, if I'm honest. Unless you want to do a light foundation with a fuller coverage concealer, that also works. But that's kind of what I would do when I want that like perfect skin look. Just because it really evens everything out. Last night the theme was glitter, so whether that was in your outfit or in your makeup, I don't really wear glittery clothes. I'm not really a glittery type of person. So I did glittery eyes. I'll show you a picture of my makeup. I didn't get a good picture of the glitter because it was evening time, but you can see my makeup anyway. I went full glam on that makeup. But it's Christmas party. That's like the perfect time to go over the top, right? Concealer, I'm also being a little bit extra, but I'm trying to finish this. I'm a bit darker. This is my darker concealer. This is a Jouer Essential High Coverage. So I've almost finished this, that I have to get another item to get it all out. So a full coverage concealer. I don't do perfect placement because it's all gonna get blended in anyway, but generally I'm doing under my eyes and my T-zone. There we go, finished a concealer. Ta-da! And then I get a little bit of my Too Faced. It's a little bit lighter because this matches my face. And I'm just going to dot, dot, dot. I only want a little bit of this lighter because this is quite light. And then we just blendy, blendy. You can see how light the Too Faced is. That's why I only like to use a little bit of it, especially when I'm using a darker foundation, but it's a very good concealer. All right, and now we're going to do a little bit of powder. So I have been, use your favorite under eye powder. I really like the Sephora Brightening and Smoothing, the Sephora Collection powder. That one's a good one, but I am trying to use this ABH contour kit. So I'm going to use this powder here, which is actually really nice under the eyes. And we're going to get a smaller brush like this. This is my favorite one that I use. See how it's kind of fluffy, but not too fluffy. So I can hold the product, tap it off, and then I just place it under. And I'm pressing it in. I need to zoom you up. Why do I always forget to do that? So I don't know if you'll be able to really tell the difference. Can you tell a difference between here and here? I can tell a difference that this looks more blurred and mattified, but it's going to be hard to tell on camera. And it's for long wear as well. Like it really helps. Make sure you got no creases. Helps with longevity. Like it makes your makeup last so long when you set it. Then I just do my T-zone. I don't do my whole face. I don't bake. This is how I do it. If I'm wearing a mask, or if I want really, really long wear, then I do go here. Because we're using powder products like bronzer and blush on the rest of the face. So we're gonna get powder on the face. But here, this will make it just last a bit longer. And you know, we're still in mask season, so. And I'm gonna quickly do my brows off camera now that I've done my base. I'm just using an XX Revolution that I'm trying to use. Okay, so now we're gonna contour. I'd like to do a light contour because I like the coolness of it. And then we can bronze up after. So I'm gonna use my contour kit from ABH. And I like to use a smaller kind of brush to target the area. And I just kind of do that in the divot here where it naturally sinks. And you can find it by going like this, you can feel it. And we never go below that line. We only want to go above. And I just make sure that I blend that. And that is what kind of gives me that, gives it a more glam look. I think doing my base makeup is probably my favorite part of the makeup process. I love, eyeshadow is fun and it's most people's favorite thing, but for me, it's doing my base makeup. I love it. I love having Like if I could live without eyeshadow. I mean, I don't want to, but I could. But I love bronzer, foundation, blush. I love that process. And we're not going too far forward unless you've got really chiseled cheekbones. I don't, I have chubby cheeks. So if I went all the way into here, it's going to look muddy. So I kind of just make sure it's targeted up here. Does that make sense? And then with the excess, I don't add any product. I go on the sides of my nose. And all that's doing is just giving definition to my nose underneath, and then a little bit on top gives it a little pixie appeal. Can you see my nose? And I didn't add any product. That was just what was left over. And then I do like to do a little bit up here. I will blend that, don't worry. But that is it. I'll take a little bit of excess down here. You don't want to put too much down here because you'll be able to see a visible line, which we don't want. We want to create a shadow, but we don't want to actually see the product. There we go. And I've actually been loving using this one as a finishing powder. I might quickly do that now. The only problem is it's such a small area for my big ass brush. It's supposed to be a highlighter, but it's quite faint. So it's been a really nice finishing powder, and I'm just gonna buff that all over. And I know that you're supposed to do this at the end, but I kind of like to do it now while I can still be messy. Anything with a bit of luminosity is just such a beautiful finishing powder. Then we're gonna get my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush bronzer. And because I've contoured, I don't wanna go in with a heavy bronzer because I'm quite fair. So this is the fair shade. And I got this new brush from Beauty Bay, BB101. It is such a good bronzer brush. I'm loving it. And this is gonna buff over it. Over the contour. We can be a little bit more heavy with the bronzer because this isn't too dark. So I can really buff it in. It gives that nice soft focus look when it's not a heavy bronzer, because we've got that contour underneath to give my face shape and dimension. And then this is just gonna soften. I'm not as targeted with bronzer because I like how it bronzes up the face. But generally I'm doing the perimeters here, a little bit here and a little bit here. But this Charlotte Tilbury bronzer really does have that airbrush look, which is kind of what we're going for. There we go. So that is my bronzer. And then blush. I'm going to use my favorite NARS Orgasm on the Beach blush palette. And I'm going to use the shade Orgasm. It is such a beautiful shade, and I know a lot of people hate it, but I do like a luminous blush. And I just don't use highlighter because it's got the highlighter in it. And I'm going to use my Refa number 4. It's a cheek brush. And I just love, if you've got fair skin, this is such a nice shade of blush. And we've already got that sheen in there, so I'm not going to be wearing highlighter today because this is basically highlighter. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of leaving it up here because I am doing more glam. I kind of want to look a little bit more, I use this word all the time, like lifted. So if I did too much blush here, I'd look too cute. So if we do it up here, I look a little bit more sophisticated. I don't know if that's the right word. I wouldn't describe myself as sophisticated. Yes, but we can kind of see how it looks a little bit more cohesive when it's just up here. And blush does tend to disappear, so I usually go in a little bit heavy. Blended, but a little bit heavier because it will disappear. Yeah, so the last step, because we're not doing highlighter, is you must get a good setting spray. I like a good one. Urban Decay All Night is good. I love MAC Fix Plus for setting because it really melts So what this does is, yes, good longevity, but for me, setting spray, it melts all the powders together. So it doesn't, your face doesn't look powdery anymore. I will show you what I mean. It just kind of melts and makes your skin all come into one. And that's why I love setting spray. I love the L'Oreal Shake and Glow. Such a good one. But this is my favorite one. And I really drench my face. I do have a fan. I bought a Kaleidos fan, but I don't have it here, so. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna give us a subtle glow, and it's gonna melt all the makeup together. All right, what I'm gonna do is quickly finish my makeup. I will revise everything for you. Okay? Okay. Okay, so if I look down, the eye look looks good. If I look up, my hooded eyes ruin it. Why must this be my life? Look, I look crazy. I look good. I look crazy. I look good. You know what? This is what it is. Fortunately, this is not about the eye look. Fortunately. Should we look at my face makeup? What do we think? I mean, I love it. This is what I love. But it is set in place. It ain't going anywhere. So let's do some slow-mo O's. Slow-mo O's. What do we think? Do we like? Did you get any useful tips? My main tips. All right, let's go over it. This sunscreen. Hydrating primer, blurring primer, medium to full coverage foundation, powder in the T-zone, contour, light bronze. I would say that's my main tips. Just a few. But yeah, I don't know what else to say because it's the makeup that I do not every day, but most days. So it's hard to explain something that you do all the time. I hope I helped in some way or another. If you like this video, please give it a double thumbs up if you can. I don't think that's possible. And subscribe if you are new here, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.